Hi friends, today I'm going to start polity and the polity from basic. That what exactly the constitution means, why do we need the constitution, what is the difference between the constitution and constitutional law, what is the difference between constitution and constitutionalism. And before we move further, we have to first understand what is state. Because only when the sedentary life started that we felt the need of an organized system by which we must be governed. Therefore, the state must have a definite territory, state must have an independent polity, and state must have the population which has a united sense of resentment against the external aggression. So these are the important things. But see, earlier it was merely the state was merely confined to maintain the law and order and protect the state from the external aggression. That was the main state. That was called police state. But later on, it was felt that that laissez-faire attitude, means non-intervention attitude is not going to help a lot. In the modern state, the state has taken a very different form, and that is called welfare state, because the state has to produce a lot more services and products for the sake of people. Though new public management states and advocates about less government and more governance. It means the size of the government must be reduced, but it's pervasive, and more entanglement to the all people must be spread. So let us start from here. Let's see the state. We have to understand that why do we need the constitution? We need a constitution because that is the fundamental and supreme law of the land. That constitution is required because we are going to establish several structures like state and state, district, etc. Means these are the structures, and then these structures must be endowed with certain powers. The power must be decentralized so that there is check and balances. So traditionally we all have three organs, that is legislature for making laws, promulgating laws, executing for implementing and executing those laws and policies taken by the government, and third is judiciary. Judiciary is important, and if these all three are independent in the respective domain and field. Why do we need this? Then the a very important point arise, that separation of power on between all among all these three organs of the state. Now, see, the separation of power, which is prevalent in United States of the presidential system and Westminster model and Indian parliamentary system, is different. Why is it so? Because Indian parliamentary system has adopted the Westminster model, in which there is no strict separation of power in the sense of the United States presidential form of the government. Why is it so? Because there the president is independent. He is the head of the executive, and he does not participate in the proceedings of the Congress or House of Representative and Senate. But at the same time, the president or the executive nominates the judges of the Supreme Court, and it is subject to the confirmation of the Congress. So it is the political. But in our country, in Indian parliamentary system, what happens, that executive, the council of minister, is the part of the legislature. So there is no strict division. Similarly, that we have adopted the Westminster model, but we are not the replica of the Westminster model, the British Parliament. There are so many differences. For example, see, in Britain, what happens? The Prime Minister must be chosen from the lower house, House of the Commons. But here in our country, the Prime Minister can be taken from either house of the Parliament, whether Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha. Therefore, this is the difference between the Westminster model we have adopted. It is not the exact replica. Second is that the Council of Ministers who are chosen from the lower house, but here in our, they must be from either house, their House of Commons and Council of the State. But here in our country, they, even if the person is not coming from any of the houses, that person can be made or appointed as a cabinet minister, provided he must become the member of at least one Rajya Sabha or member of House of Commons Lok Sabha within 6 months. So that is another difference. Yet another difference between the British Parliament and our parliamentary system is that they have a shadow cabinet, which is a very unique kind of establishment there. Opposite party means the counterpart. The one part is in government, incumbent government is being watched, and its work is being oversawn by the opposition party. Every cabinet minister is being placed under the control of one opposition cabinet minister. That is a shadow government. So the advantages are that, suppose that once the government, because of the no confidence motion, just get away from there, it is not in the power. So whatever the work was going already there get the continuity because of the shadow government. The opposition takes control because it has all the power in everything. We do not have that system in our country. So these are some advantages, disadvantages we have borrowed. Now the police state at that time only confined to maintaining the law and order and defending the country from the external aggression. Later on, it was laissez-faire, that leave it and let the market play its role. We just have to maintain this one. But after that, the new concept of the welfare state, in which the state not only have to maintain the law and order, but also have to take care of downtrodden, vulnerable. Because if we allow the market to have its own force, then it is not possible to bring the benefit to the last person. Therefore, it is important. Now the new public management is advocating about contractionism, outsourcing, and the government must not only spend, but it should also learn how to conserve, preserve, and earn the money. And government must also consider the citizens as consumers of services and products. Therefore, government must bring competition so that they could be given better competitive edge. That is also important. Now we have to discuss that legislature, executive, and judiciary, there is a demarcation, but in sometimes there is overreach. It may be judicial overreach, and sometimes even there is a parliamentary overreach, and executive is also sometimes encroaching upon the rights of the people. So the judiciary is there to interpret the law and protecting the rights of the citizens. Now the difference between the constitution and constitutionalism, suppose that there is a autocratic country where the totalitarian kind of the government is there. Even they have the constitution, but does it mean that they are following the rules and regulation according to democratic setup? No. So constitutionalism says there must be checks and balances. There must be limited power, because Lord Acton has very rightly said that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Therefore, power must not be concentrated in one hand. It must be decentralized. There must be limited power. There must be checks and balances. There must be different structure. One structure should be overlooked by another, so that there is no corruption. And if there is corruption, it must be brought out to the people. So this is another thing that we have to understand, that why constitutionalism is important. There must be absence of complete arbitrary power. If there is rule of law, it means there is complete absence of arbitrary power. Second is equality. equal treatment to every person, equality of law means every person, even those who are enforcing the law, even those who are promulgating the law, are subject to the same law. So no man is above the law. And third is individual liberty must be respected, and people must have those rights so that they can raise their voices against arbitrariness of the power. So today I have just given you the brief outline that why do we need a constitution and constitutional law. The difference between the constitution and constitutional law is that constitution is supreme. Of course it is a, it has demarcated, it's written, it has demarcated the power of every structure. It has, and that's why the judiciary is there. If there is any clash, it is only the judiciary which has the last say, because this is the interpreter of the law, in which sense and in which context the particular word has been used in the constitution. It is left with the Supreme Court. Therefore, if there is a clash between the two organs of the government, then they can approach the Supreme Court or the High Court in the original jurisdiction, and the Supreme Court will decide. The judicial review is integral part of our constitution, and the independence is also maintained with the judicial pronouncement. For example, under Article 361, the governor and presidents are enjoying the judicial immunity. Under Article 123, the executive head, the president, enjoys the power of promulgating the ordinance when the parliament is not in the session, or when the urgency is is there any exigency, etc. And similarly, and Article 50 says that there must be demarcation between the executive and the judiciary. So all these things are there, which is very the basic fundamental things. So today I have just given you an outline, and once again I will tell you that these terms are very important to understand, that the constitution and constitutional law are different, because the constitutional law also incorporates and includes all the statutory laws and judicial pronouncement, unlike the constitution, which is the original document, and it has given all the broad outlines of the demarcation of the power between the different organs, and it has also empowered them with the rights, and it has also put some limitations, so that every power, every organ of the government works and function, there is interdependence, and that interdependence must be ensured for the larger interest of the people. So again, I will start with another chapter, and that is the first chapter of the constitution, that is preamble. It was very essential for me to let you know that these terms are, and sometimes we believe that constitutionalism and constitution are same. No, that is not the same. Constitutionalism is different in the sense that there must be absence of arbitrary power, there must be rule of law, there must be individual liberties, all these things. Therefore, today I have merely discussed all these things, so that next time I'm going to start. Today we discussed the difference between the parliamentary system, separation of power in the parliamentary system, and the US presidential system, the difference between the Westminster model, which we have adopted, which is not the exact replica of the Westminster model. The differences are there according to our situation. So these are the very important things. And next topic will be the preamble. So thank you very much for watching today, and you have a great day.